Doctor Who Revolution of the Daleks, the 2021 New Year's Day special, and this one's a big one. I mean, there's a couple of reasons. I mean, the Daleks show up, which is always a big reason. It's always a big deal. But there's two other big deals. One is that John Barrowman's back as Captain Jack, a character we haven't seen since End of Time, or Mega Good Day if you want to include Torchwood. But also, us saying goodbye to Graham and Ryan, which is always that curiosity of how are they going to wrap these characters up, how are they going to end their story, what is their final adventure with the Doctors going to be. And me, who just finished watching the episode, I will say this episode is clunky, and I will say this, it's kind of an episode that you could kind of point about, hey, explain the Chibnall era as a whole. This is the episode to point to. This is the episode to point to, really. Because in a way, like, the thing about the Chibnall era, it's always about the writing, right? And it's never, it's never the induction, it's never the actors, it's blah, 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 blah. It always comes down to the writing. And you think there's some episodes I like from the Chibnall era. But there is some episodes that I'm like, this is boring, or at least bad, and what the hell is this? Or in this case, meh. Because how clunky it is. Now, I read the script, I know it's clunky because of the editing and the directing. I don't know if that's the case. But if it's the writing, I'm curious how the script got planned out. Because the Doctor is in jail for 20 minutes. It's there so you can have monster cameos. So go, oh, there's a silence. Oh, Bonnie and Clyde is a ood and a Sycorax. Oh, it's a weeping angel. It's like, ooh, it's that. And you're like, okay, it's basically just cameos galore. But it kind of just falls down. This episode it's just clunky in its writing, and you understand why it's there, but it's just the execution itself is not that good. I mean, with Captain Jack, let's deal with the two things: how they handle Jack. Jack is there for two reasons. One is him go nostalgic, him go, ooh, I miss that sound like a lot. And two, for him to be the face, basically there to tell the audience, to probably just join, the people who joined Doctor Who have joined the show with Whittaker, with our current Doctor, to ease people in the idea that opinions will come and go. Doctors will change, and that, this is a show that's all about change. And, I mean, even... Ryan and the Doctor have a conversation about the Timeless Child situation and talk about, well, times change, and but you are still you and that whole thing, and it's which I'm curious to see how people react to it, how controversial that the reveal of that the Timeless Child came around. But anyway, but Jack is there to be that face that, hey, there's going to be a time that you are not going to travel with the Doctor if it's from she stops visiting you, or you just leave her, whatever the reason that is. So he's there for that. But also at the same time, you're kind of reintroducing this character. I mean, the last time people saw him outside Torchwood was the 10th Doctor trying to hook him up with Alonso. And that's it. That's 2009, If you want to add Torchwood onto it, it's the last time we saw him was fighting a space vagina. I shit you not. The reason people were not dying, but he was because there was a big ass meaty space vagina. That's the best way to explain that's the way people describe it, and that's how he is. Anyway, but the thing is, they explain who he is. Like, he is Captain Jack, he used to travel with the Doctor, he's immortal. They even recap, Parting of the Ways. They even mention Rose and her being on a parallel universe and all that kind of stuff. But they never really show the character like he's immortal. But we never see him like a Dalek kill him and he comes back to life. So if you're a newcomer, you're like, and you may have heard, oh my god, people freaking out over Jack. People, maybe people who just joined Wicca are like, what's the big deal about this guy? Like, he's like, a lot of people like him. Like, really? Like, I won't lie, I was kind of waiting for him to flirt, and then the doctor or whoever goes and says, stop it. A little hint, reference to that. But yeah, I was like, they're telling people who Jack is and telling that he's immortal and all kind of stuff, but it could be probably a better hook and a better punch in the gut if he was. They showed that he wasn't immortal. Showed that he's immortal and show him getting killed and come back to life. And I thought that could be a more interesting way to tell people who he is. Now, also with the Daleks is humans thinking Daleks are the good guys, and the Daleks turn on the humans, and the Doctor's like, for God's sakes, again, and such. Yeah, we have seen that before. I mean, Matt Smith had an episode of that. With the Victory of the Daleks. Why am I blanking on that bloody episode? It was a really good episode. Victory of the Daleks. That had that. We get like some tea. We've seen that. But it is handled. I was kind of like seeing, okay, where this is going. But then we get to Jack. Was it Jack Thompson? That's the character. Chris North's character. Yeah, Jack Robertson. That's what his name is. Who was in Whackneys of the UK. In the UK. And at the beginning, I'm like, okay, they're reinventing this character. He's gonna be less Trumpy, and I thought, okay, he's gonna be less of that. Oh dear, he's back to his ways. Oh dear, he's going to be running for president. I'm wondering who they reference. Like, you understand who he is meant to like wink, wink, hint, hint. But this character, there's some characters that you're like, what are you doing? And there's that level of like annoyance, and there's a level of, not annoyance, but there's a level of like, for fuck's sake, Dalek, can you please? I was waiting for him to hear the word exterminate, just so we could not deal with this character anymore. Like, really, I was so like annoyed by him, and then maybe it was the point. Yeah, you're meant to be annoyed by this character. I know, maybe I am meant to be annoyed, and just like, for God's sakes, people, just why is this character there? Just end this character, for goodness sakes. But unless they want to reveal he's the master or whatever, unless it's, but that doesn't make, like, he's another version of the master to give people an idea of generations and all that. But anyway, that's just anyway. But yeah, I mean, her being, the Doctor being in prison, basically just there for cameos. Just like, hey, there's a weeping angel. Hey, there's a silence. We haven't seen a silence for a while, haven't we? The Bonnie and Clyde does I Ood. And Ood and a Sycorax. It's been a while since we've seen those two, haven't we? And it's just one of those things where it just became cameos galore. It's really for exit of these characters and the exit of two of the companions. It's kind of like a subpar clunky episode, which is kind of, because the last one, the Simple Revolution, the 2019 special, was really good. I quite enjoyed that one, but this one just felt really just clunky.